So if you're a business owner, I have a couple of questions to ask you. First, have you ever been audited by the IRS before? Like, have you ever received a letter from the IRS because of inaccuracies in your taxes? Boy, does that make your stomach hurt, right? Like, and then you're struggling to substantiate expenses with receipts that you probably don't have. Or do you struggle with getting credit? Maybe applying for loans and getting denied from the banks, and or even struggling to get investors because you lack accurate records. I mean, I'm asking you this question, so think hard, okay? Maybe it applies to you, maybe it doesn't. I have another question for you. Do you always feel like you're behind on your bills, even though you have money coming in? Like you know your business is making money, but it's like every month you're struggling. You feel that way? Or the good one, are you struggling to sleep at night? Because it's like, I don't know where my business is at. I don't know if I'm going to be scaling to the next level or not. Well, if that is you, I have the answer. And it's one. It's one, okay? Because it's one that can solve all these different issues, and it's called bookkeeping, right? So basic. But you know what? I want to talk to you today about the importance of having a solid bookkeeping system and where you should start, okay? For someone who is probably new to business, has been in business, is completely stressed out because of the lack of accurate financial record keeping, this is going to be a great video for you. I have so much packed in this, okay? But before I go on, let's get to know each other. Okay, so who am I meeting today? All right, let's talk. So you can go ahead. If I don't know where you're joining me from, but I would love to know. Tell me your name. Of course, it's gonna probably show up where you're joining from and what kind of business you have, what goods or services your business offers. And for me, let me tell you a little bit about myself, and we can dive right into what I want to share with you. I'm Dr. Lilly Mbinglo. I'm sure you can see somewhere. I'm Dr. Lilly Mbinglo. I am a licensed CPA, certified public accountant. I am the CEO of an accounting firm called the ARC NPS. I have an 11-year-old daughter. Not that you need to know, but she's a genius. She's going to be 12 soon. So maybe you get to watch this video next year and she's already 12. But trust me, she's way more business savvy than myself. Can you imagine? Anyways, I am a speaker. I do have a TEDx. You can check it out. I love to teach. Of all the things I do, teaching is the one thing that gives me the most fulfillment. I provide training for business owners, business executives, nonprofit founders, their boards, and things like that. I love to help people save on taxes. If it's one thing about me, being a CPA and being in the space where I support small businesses, one of my biggest joys is being able to provide information that helps people make informed decision and also helps them not only make more money but save on taxes and put it towards building generational wealth. Okay, I'm very passionate about nonprofits. Topic for another day. And I want to share a few fun facts about me. Okay, one of them is that I love to dance. If I'm passing somewhere and there's good music, I promise you I'm not gonna go without dancing. Like I gotta drop it. Okay, so don't tempt me. One of the craziest thing I've done is skydiving. And sometimes I think about it, I was like, what were you thinking jumping out of a perfectly moving plane? Okay, well, I'm still here. I live to tell the tale. If you have never done it, why not? Just be as stupid as I was and try it. Well, no, don't be stupid. It's actually amazing. You're not being stupid trying it. It's one of those things that if you have the guts and the courage to do it and the balls, go for it, okay? I have no bad days, and I have driven to 48 states in the US. So, yeah, I still have to make Alaska. I don't know when that's gonna happen, and then probably fly out to Hawaii. But yeah, so I'm very adventurous, and yeah, so here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead now and dive into our topic of today. Really excited about this because this is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I have seen so many businesses struggle because they lack accurate financial records. Nothing beats it. Okay, so before we go in, if you're new to business, you're probably thinking, what is bookkeeping even, right? Why is that a big deal? Because to me, it's one of the most important things a business can do. Forget having money, and if your books are not in order, if you're not tracking what's coming in or what's going on out, you're in trouble. Okay, so what is bookkeeping? This is the simplest form from Investopia and a couple of other sources. Okay, bookkeeping is the process of recording, Listen, recording, organizing, and storing financial transactions of a business or an organization. Okay, now I want to talk about the best part of this, or the most important part of this, which is the purpose of bookkeeping. The purpose of bookkeeping is to maintain accurate and detailed record of financial activities for three major reasons, and we're going to dive into this. First, for financial management. Second, for tax compliance, of course, and which also includes everything from saving on taxes and all. And lastly, for a solid or informed decision making. These are the three things, okay? So remember, the purpose of bookkeeping is for you to be able to maintain accurate financial records in order for you to, for these three things. One, for financial management. Two, tax compliance. And three, to make informed decisions for your business. So let's kind of break it down. What do I mean by bookkeeping is very necessary for financial management? Okay, financial management is a very broad term. But if you understand that bookkeeping is the process of you organizing financial records and putting it together in a way that helps you see or understand how your business is performing, right? A couple of things will happen that will help you as far as managing the finances of your business. First thing is that you'll always be able to evaluate how well your business is doing, because you know exactly where you are at a point in time. You know what is coming, you know what has gone out, you know if you're making a profit, you're making a loss. So you can always evaluate the performance of your business. Another thing you can do is it can help you to really budget. You know, people that understand the trends of their business, that understand the needs of their business, and because they've been able to track it, it's easy for them to plan into the future, to project into the future. And those are the people that are able to get funding from investors, because they can project into the future saying, this is what we were able to put in, this is what we were able to get out, this was, you know, what we spent to start our business, this is what we've made, and we know that if you invest in us, we can make much more, and this will be the return on your investment. Okay, so it definitely helps with budgeting. Another great thing when it comes to the financial management element, the beauty of bookkeeping is that it helps you with cash flow management. You know how they say cash is king? It really is king. Not necessarily like cash at hand, but we're talking about liquid in terms of even if it's in your bank. The reason for that is because when you have cash and you understand how much cash you have, it allows you to be able to do certain things for your business. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're trying to buy a building or whatever. You always need a down payment, or if you needed supplies or you needed anything. For you to be able to make progress in your business, you always need to know at a point in time what you have in your bank, so that you can plan that. For people that have employees, you always want to be ahead of the payroll game, because you never want to lag behind, right? So being able to have a good system of tracking what's coming in and what's going out helps you to really manage your cash and know how to take care of all your bills in time. Another thing that bookkeeping really helps you do is build credit worthiness. There's nobody that you're going to go to ask for money and they're not going to ask to see financial records. Nobody. It doesn't matter if it's an investor or a bank that's trying to give you a loan. Okay, so with you having a solid financial tracking system, which is bookkeeping, it allows people to trust you, because people can see how you're able to document everything that is coming into your business, everything that is going out, and you're categorizing it correctly. So that way when they look at it, they know if you are someone they can invest in, someone they can make the decision to make a loan to, knowing that you'll be able to pay back. And it just really helps you have that respect in that space, and people are willing to trust you more because they know that you're a good steward. Okay, and then sometimes, if down the road you wanted to sell your business or you wanted to merge with another business, it's so hard to do it if you do not have a good clarity or good understanding of exactly where you are at a point in time. So just some of those beautiful perks of bookkeeping when it comes to financial management. Okay, another reason why having a solid bookkeeping is important, remember I said, is financial management. The next thing is what? The tax compliance element. Okay, and when I talk about tax compliance, it's a broad term too, but I'm going to break it down for you. When your books are in order, the first thing is that you're going to file your taxes correctly. You're also going to file your taxes on time. I can promise you, people will have their books done in time by December 31st, or well, when the month closes, January, mid-January or so, they usually get their taxes done on time. People who do not have their books in order, they're always lagging behind. And what happens is they end up not being able to report everything, or either overstating expenses or understating income, and that causes them trouble down the road. Another reason why having accurate bookkeeping is important for you is also for other agencies, even for like states. If you're someone who is in a space that gets audited by the state where they want to see your records, it's so important for you to be able to have those your records in order. Okay. Another thing that having a solid bookkeeping system does for you is that it helps you to be ready if you were to have an audit. Okay, nobody likes an audit, but let me tell you something. When you have your books in order, an audit doesn't scare you. You can get a letter from the IRS and they're like, we want you to provide support for this, this, and this. You're not losing sleep because you have the documentation. But if you do not have it, which means you've not done any bookkeeping, no reconciliation, what's happening is that you're going to be stressed out. Then, of course, the big one is with you doing your bookkeeping and being able to track all your expenses, it can help you significantly save on taxes. Okay? And even bigger is the ability to apply tax strategies. There are so many tax strategies out there, so many. I mean, look, being a CPA, some days I learn some new things and I'm like, wait, what? This is even possible? Too many tax strategies. But let me tell you something. The people that are able to leverage the tax code for their benefit are people that have their numbers in order. Because no matter how great a strategy is, if I give it to you and your books are not in order, it means nothing because you're not going to be able to use it because you don't even know if you made a profit. You don't know what your revenues were or your expenses, if you need to apply that strategy or not. But with you having your books in order, you're able to do that. Another thing we talked about was informed decision making. Let me tell you, at some point in your business, you're either going to need to hire people or maybe expand. If you're working from home, maybe you might need to move into a physical location or things like that. Or maybe decide to add a product line or decide to drop a product line. Maybe decide to partner with another company or not, right? Or end a partnership. A lot of these decisions are centered around your financial records, okay? So if your financial records are inaccurate or you don't even have any, it's so hard to make these kind of strategic decisions because you don't have high quality numbers, which means you're not going to be able to make high quality decisions, okay? So it's very important to make sure that you have a solid bookkeeping system in place. With you doing that, you can strategically plan for growth. You can plan for where to stop certain activities. You can plan for where to hire people or even fire people sometimes, okay? If you realize that they are not producing as they should have. All of those things can be clearly understood and those decisions made because you're informed. Another thing that a good bookkeeping system will do for you is that it's going to reduce or mitigate risk or theft or even mismanagement. Okay, a lot of times if you're not tracking your expenses or even your income, and you have maybe team members or even you might be spending so much money in certain categories or certain expenses without understanding that it's hurting your business because you don't have a system of tracking. You don't have a system of going back and looking at your records and saying, wait, how much did we spend on this? How did that impact our bottom line? If you don't have a system like that, you have a lot of risk. You run the risk of theft. You run the risk of just mismanagement, and it can really affect your business. And one last thing is just the quality of your decisions. Okay, there was this quote from D Hawk. Like he said, making good decisions is not good leadership, is good bookkeeping. I think that's the quote. I need to remember it very well. But it comes down to that because when you understand your numbers, the quality of your decisions is exceptional. It's not about your leadership. I don't care how great a leader you are. If you're going to make decisions that are going to cause the company to go down a hole or go out of business, you're a bad leader. Okay, but if you have good records and you're working with that and combining it with those leadership decisions, there's no limit to what you can do. Okay, so those are those three main areas why it's so important to have accurate financial records. Now, so let's talk about it, because a lot of times we talk about people not having a good bookkeeping system in place, and there are some people who are like, well, we have bookkeeping, we have QuickBooks, or we have this system or that system. Well, there are levels to bookkeeping trouble. Okay, that's how I call it. So I have 3 levels, and when I talk to people, I always find that everybody fits in one of these levels. The worst level, right? So I'm gonna start from 3 because I'm rating them. No, 1. I'll call it 1. So the worst level, worst, like when you talk about this is the worst place to be, is having no bookkeeping whatsoever. This is the worst place you are, and you don't want to be in that place. Okay, the second one is someone who has inaccurate bookkeeping, which means you are doing some kind of bookkeeping but you're not applying accounting principles, and so there's a lot of wrong classifications, wrong reporting, like reporting an asset in your profit and loss, for example, instead of the depreciation. Okay, that's inaccurate. And then the last one, the next two, this second one and the third one are kind of the same in weight. Incomplete bookkeeping. Okay, and incomplete bookkeeping is where you're not doing the work to go through other items you might have, so which means there's missing records. There are records that are not being included in your bookkeeping. Sometimes it's deliberate, sometimes it's not, but a lot of times people would underreport revenues because they got paid in cash. You see that happen a lot, or those kind of things. So you have the no bookkeeping, you have inaccurate bookkeeping, and you have incomplete bookkeeping. Now, no one is better than the other, but at least having inaccurate bookkeeping means someone could help you with fixing that. Having no bookkeeping means probably when you file your taxes, you're just taking numbers from off your head, and that's really where red flags are just all over the place, and you're inviting an audit from Uncle Sam. Okay, but it's not the end of the world. We can fix that. And I'm going to go ahead and provide, wait, before we even talk about fixing that, I want to talk about some of the things that happen when you find yourself in one of these categories, right? Which means if you don't have any bookkeeping at all, or if you have inaccurate records, or if you have incomplete bookkeeping, which means you're not factoring in, you're not going through all your receipts, you're not factoring everything, a lot of things could go wrong for you. First thing is that you're going to have huge financial chaos, okay, because your reporting is inaccurate. You cannot rely on it, which means you can't plan your finances, you can't plan your cash flow. It's just a complete chaotic world for your business, okay, and it's hard to grow. It becomes harder for you to get loans from the bank. Worse, investors. Nobody wants to invest in chaos, okay. Sometimes you end up paying too much in taxes. I see that happen a lot, where you have taxpayers, and these are good and honest people. They are so scared to report their expenses because why? They did not track the expenses. So what happens? They pay taxes on the full income that they got on the 1099, for example, because and they don't deduct any expenses. So they end up paying so much in taxes because they were not tracking their expenses through a good bookkeeping system. Now, this is this extreme. Then on the other extreme is the people that have no bookkeeping, yet they file inaccurate tax returns. So they just pop numbers from their and I'm putting on the tax return, and they're like, oh, for meals, $20,000. And Iris is like, yo, what were you talking about over all that amount of food, okay? But here's what happens when people, you have the extreme, the people that just don't report any expenses because they didn't track it, so they pay so much in tax. And then the people who just want to lie on their taxes, right? Where they report these outrageous expenses, they sometimes underreport their revenues, right? So they say they made less, and then they put all these crazy expenses that they incurred. And the trouble with that, this one is where trouble really follows you. You attract IRS audit. Paying too much taxes will never attract too much any audit, because IRS wants the money from you anyway, so they'll take the money, right? It's your responsibility as a business person for you to track your expenses. If you don't, you pay the taxes, nobody's going to touch you. But when you file inaccurate returns, oh, that's where trouble comes, okay? Now you're attracting audit, which could end up in lots of penalties and even legal consequences. Do you want us to start listing all the major artists that have gone to jail, from Ja Rule? There's so many of them, right, that have gone to jail because of either not filing taxes or filing inaccurate ones, and or not just pay, because IRS is like, you're not paying your taxes for all the money that you made. So you want to avoid that. Another thing that could happen when you don't have a good system, a bookkeeping system in place, of course, is that increased risk of fraud, the poor strategic planning, and then you have challenges with an audit. When an audit comes for you, if you do not have your docs, you cannot substantiate those expenses, there's trouble. And people that want to sell their businesses, I've seen so many of them struggle because they do not have a system in place. So if you ever plan to sell your business, please make sure that you're tracking everything that is coming in and everything that is going out, okay? I want to point out something, because when it comes to this tax part, I think people don't realize how business owners get taxed. Okay, when you had a job as a W-2 earner, you earn income, right? You paid your taxes and then you spent your money. So your taxes was taken out. That's why you complete the W-4, right? So you make money, pay taxes, you spend your money, you're done. As a business owner, you earn money, you spend the money, and you only pay taxes on what is left. Which means, as a business person, you have the opportunity to ensure that if you track all your expenses, you're able to write off every expense that you incurred in order to make your money, and you pay your fair share of taxes on whatever is left. But if you do not track your expenses or track, the money you spend to make money, guess what? You're going to be paying money on the whole bulk of the money, taxes on the whole bulk of the money that you earn, which is not fair to you. So with that in mind, I want you guys to understand how important bookkeeping is. Okay, I think I've kind of laid the foundation here, and I hope that is helpful. So for someone who is new into business, someone who has not been doing anything, I have a few tips to kind of get you started. Okay, so if you're new to business, if you started business today or you're planning to start, please hear me out. Okay, these are some steps that I want you to put in place to make sure that you have a bookkeeping system. First thing, I need you to separate your business accounts from your personal accounts. Start to separate it right away. Separate your business income from your business personal income. Separate your business expenses from your personal expenses. That's so important. That's the first step, because once you separate it, even if you don't have a bookkeeping system right away, if someone came back a year later, they can still go back and reconcile. But when everything is commingled, it becomes a little bit harder. Okay. Second thing, start saving your receipts, especially if you're paying for stuff with cash. Try to start saving those receipts, because if you do not have anything to substantiate the numbers that you have, that's trouble for you, and you end up with penalties and stuff like that. So start compiling and saving receipts. Now, that's not bookkeeping, but I'm saying it's a step. Okay, for someone who is starting out, who is like, I'm a bit confused, I want you to start saving all your receipts from the get-go. The third thing I want you to do, hear me out, please limit cash spending. Try as much as possible to limit how much you spend, how much you pay for things with cash. And also, even if it comes to your revenues, if you can limit the cash business, better for you. But every business is different, so I'm not going to really talk much on that, because it depends on the industry that you're in. Some industries are just like that, like clubs, for example. Most of their business is cash. But for you, in order to help you with tracking your expenses and making sure that you have it's easy for you to do your bookkeeping, avoid paying for stuff with cash. Because if you pay with cash, you have to make sure you're keeping those receipts, and God forbid you lose your box of receipts, right? But if you paid with a credit card, now I'm not saying that you don't need your receipts, but even if you lost your receipts and I'm looking at your credit card statements, if I saw that you went to Olive Garden, you and I know you went there to eat, right? You did not go to Olive Garden to buy supplies. So just something, just something to get you started. So avoid using cash if you can. Fourth thing, I want you to understand the IRS code 162, which talks about business expenses, because I see there are two types of entrepreneurs. They are the ones that are like, look, I'm writing off everything, including my kids' fees, everything. And then you have the entrepreneurs that are completely like, no, I don't want to get in trouble, Uncle Sam. The ones, these two extremes are not where you want to be. You don't want to be the person who doesn't want to write off expenses out of fear, and you don't want to be the person that is extreme, and going to the point where you're committing fraud or you're being dishonest. No, you want to be the entrepreneur that has some level of understanding. Okay, so the IRS code, they call it RIC code 162. It says your business expenses, right, for them to be deductible, they have to be ordinary and they have to be necessary. Which means, if I came to anybody in your industry, that expense that was incurred is a common expense in your industry. That makes it ordinary. But then you can have an expense that is not ordinary to your industry, but it was necessary for you to run your business. If that's the case, then those are deductible. Okay, so a lot of times people think, the IRS has the full list of all the expenses you can incur. No, like, there'll be some expenses that you may not have on the checklist that the IRS has, or on the list that the IRS has, but they were peculiar to your business. Make sure that you track those, okay, and you document it. And sometimes you can have an expense that is ordinary and even necessary, but you cannot report it in a time period, because it has to go to your balance sheet like an asset, because you're going to have that for a long period of time. It's going to be helping you to generate income. So just have an understanding of those different types of expenses. Okay, expenses that are ordinary to your business and they are necessary to your business. Okay, my fifth thing for you is start learning how to record and categorize your expenses. Okay, for someone who is new into business, we're going to be offering you a free Excel spreadsheet that will help you with tracking your expenses. If you're just starting out, our Excel spreadsheet has a revenue section. It has expenses that may be peculiar to your business, and if we don't cover those, are the typical expenses. But if we don't have some of the expenses that are particular to your business, there are tabs where you can put those. Okay, so once you're done with this, there's going to be the link for you to click and download the Excel spreadsheet. And this is great for a new business owner who doesn't have a lot of transactions, but it just helps you to start documenting, tracking all your stuff and putting them in the right categories. The next thing is, as your business grows, as it starts becoming overwhelming, please get a bookkeeping software. Please do not wait. Get yourself a bookkeeping software. I don't really tell people which software to get. They all do the same thing. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're getting QuickBooks, you're getting Wave Accounting. It doesn't matter what you're getting. Xerox, all of them, they do the same thing. They will connect to your bank account. They'll be able to pull your records, and then you can go in and categorize your expenses. And from there, you can go ahead and create yourself a financial statements after you reconcile. Now, you can take a lot of lessons even on YouTube. A lot of these companies have tutorials. If you're a hands-on person, especially if you're starting out small, take your time to learn it, and then you can get a hang of it, by doing it yourself. Or if you cannot do it and you don't want to mess it up, you can hire us. We'll be more than happy to make sure that you're well taken care of, more than happy to make sure that your books are reconciled and that kind of thing. So these are my 7 steps that I want you to start with. Okay, first thing, make sure that you're separating your business expenses from your personal expenses. Second thing, I want you to start compiling or saving your receipts. The third thing, I want you to limit cash spending. Fourth thing, understand your business expenses. The fifth thing I want you to do is start to record or categorize those expenses, and we're going to be providing you with a free Excel spreadsheet to help with that. Sixth thing is you to get a bookkeeping software, and the number 7 is to hire us. And I want to tell you guys why, if you hire us, it might be the best decision. The first thing is we're very big on education in our firm. So we work with you. I don't believe that you should hire a bookkeeper and not have a good understanding of your business. So we work with you to make sure that we understand the certain expenses that are peculiar to you, so that if something stands out, we can point that out to you. And not only that, we also make sure that you know what we're doing at every point in time. And so for that reason, if someone were to call you and you didn't have access to someone, maybe to one of our bookkeepers, you can still say, yes, this was an expense I incurred for this, and that's why it was categorized here, or something like that. So if you were to hire us, we do provide an amazing bookkeeping package for clients based on the volume of transactions that you have, and a lot of our bookkeeping comes with again, we do the monthly reconciliation. Every month you're going to get your financial statements, and not only that, you do get an hour to sit with our bookkeepers every month to go over your numbers. So can you imagine, every month you have an idea of where you are at a point in time. There are some smaller businesses that might not be ready for monthly bookkeeping, or maybe they cannot afford it. We also offer training so you can go out and do it for your business. Okay, so there are all these many options that we have, and what I love about it is a lot of our packages come with other things like tax filing. If we do your bookkeeping for you, we also add tax filing. Maybe sometimes if you want to do and make an election, when you start making a lot of money from being an LLC to be treated as an S corp for tax purposes, we're able to provide that depending on the packages that you pick. Okay, so if you're someone who doesn't have a bookkeeper yet and you feel like it's becoming overwhelming for you, I think this will be a good time to definitely check us out, and we would love to have a conversation with you. There's a link that you can follow to connect with us. Okay, so, and another thing too, if you haven't had bookkeeping and you still need your records cleaned up, that's one of the things we love to do for clients, because we do have situations where people never did any bookkeeping and they feel overwhelmed because they don't know where to start. You don't even have to worry. We do a lot of cleanup. We do cleanups as far back as 5 years. So if you are someone who feels like you never really got your books in order and you haven't really grasped how well your business is doing, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to get you right to get you back on track. And what's great is when we're able to get you on track, now we know how your business is doing. We can discuss tax strategies that, will impact your business, that will help you make more money, help you save more money, and help you, build the generational wealth that you want to build, thereby, through, and save taxes as well. Okay, that was a mouthful. Just saying so much at once. So if you do not have a great accounting firm, make sure you give us a call, and don't forget to download the free Excel spreadsheet that will help you get started. All right, you guys, this has been Dr. Lilly Mbinglo. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you took some notes, and I'm excited to connect with you. If you have any questions, or if you don't have a CPA either, and you would like to have a conversation, I have a ton of classes on Teachable. So if you haven't checked out my classes, I cover a lot of these different things for different industries as well, even budgeting and things like that. I would love for you to check them out. The link is also going to be below, up or down somewhere. But thank you guys for watching to this point, and I hope this is beneficial. I would love to hear from you. Give me some feedback on specific things that you want us to cover. But most importantly, again, keep in mind, having accurate records is a game changer for your business. Okay, it's the make or mar of your business. Do not gamble with it. Get yourself a good bookkeeper, or get yourself a system if you're hands on, and get with it. All right, you guys stay safe. Bye.